The moment we have all been waiting for, the results of my Spike and Vash competition. Who will walk away with a box of Undaunted Raid? A few weeks ago, I started a competition once Spike and Vash were revealed. I said, create a deck list for Spike or Vash, do it on any symbol, send it to me, and whoever has the most viable list and most competitive list will get a box of Undaunted Raid. So it's not enough just to be creative, and it's not enough just to be, oh sorry, I said viable and competitive, didn't I? I meant creative and viable. So it's not enough just to be a good list, and it's not enough just to be creative. I want a creative and good list. And I got 28 responses. Here are Spike and Vash. If you don't remember what they do, Vash gets mill 1, your attack gets +2 speed, and he is tenacious, which means that it is playable while committed. And he can commit, discard 1 attack, draw 3 cards. So Vash gets to be an 8-hander who's giving 2 speed to everything and gets to play with his discard pile. And then we get Spike, flip 1 foundation. If this attack deals damage, draw 1 card. That is playable on offense and on defense. And your attack gets +1 speed and +1 damage for every 3 face down foundations in your stage, and that is free. So as soon as you get 6 face downs, everything's getting 2/2. As soon as you get 9, everything's getting 3/3. Personally, I think both of these characters are insanely powerful. Before this competition and before playtesting these decks, I thought Spike was going to be S tier and Vash was going to be like B+ tier. After playing with both of the characters and several of the decks, I think both these characters are solid A tier. I think I don't think Vash is as far behind Spike as I thought he was. All right, these were the rules. We all know these. This was my list that I created just for the competition. This was an Earth Spike list, capable of flipping pretty much his entire stage. That's what I like about Spike. Like, he doesn't want to flip his entire stage at the beginning, but when he's ready for an lethal attack string, he does want to be able to flip his entire stage on a moment's notice. So I was playing cards like Tight-Lipped and Chivalrous and Prehensile Tail, Cooperation Offer. Everything could just be flipped at a moment's notice. All right, let's start with the Vash the Stampede decks. I think I got about 18 Vash lists and 10 Spike lists. By the way, I'm going to be trying to do this video in like under 30 minutes. So, and I got 28 deck lists to review. I am not going to be spending a long time on each list, so I really apologize. I will not be seeing, there's a good chance that I don't talk about the secret tech that you put in. And I reviewed these lists 4 days ago, and I haven't looked at them since, so I might forget something that I saw that I thought was cool, but in the moment right now, my brain just skips over it because I'm doing this video and talking at the same time, and my brain struggles doing 2 things at the same time. So I just want to get that out of the way. I apologize if I don't say everything about your list. I thought all of the lists were very, very cool, and I am immensely appreciative of every single list that I received. All right, let's start off. We have Fire Vash. And here we have cards like Mighty Punch, Flamethrower, Freezer Burn, Ignited Arrow, Flash Fit, Fire Fist. They are all filling up our discard pile very quickly. We have Sugar Rush Power Up, which works really well with that. Mighty Punch is a pretty neat attack in Vash because now it's a 5 mid-7, and so Vash solves the one problem of Mighty Punch in that he's giving it speed. Yeah, and it's it's not really keyword locked. We have Revel at his Masterpiece, which is going to be very good in Vash because we're giving everything +1 damage. Yeah, it's a typical fire list, and I liked it. Here's another fire list. I think I've got 3 fire lists. Oh, if it's a top 10 list, then I put a trophy here. This fire list is using Summon Dark Shadow, which Summon Dark Shadow naturally works with Vash because Vash is tenacious and he's going to commit himself on the very first attack. So Summon Dark Shadow saying commit your character is not a cost to Vash, so I really like the inclusion of it here. Again, we see Revel at his Masterpiece, similar to this list. Oh yeah, one other cool thing about this list is Lust for Battle, and I think this Vash has it too. I think probably all the Fire Vashes have Lust for Battle because as soon as it enters your discard pile, your rival's next check gets -1, which works really well in this character. Here we have Twisting Azure Inferno, which combos really well with Summon Dark Shadow. And if you if you draw a Twisting Azure Inferno but you don't have a Summon Dark Shadow, that's not a big issue. Just discard it with Vash and then pick up something else. So it's playing 4 of it is perfectly fine. Frigid Heatwave, of course, works well with Vash. He gets to turn it on pretty quickly. And it should be noted that you can use this enhance on defense because it says your attack, but that doesn't. You can still just mill 1 on defense every time your rival plays an attack. So I went ahead and gave this one a top 10 trophy. Let's jump into the next Fire Vash. And this one is also utilizing cards like Blazing Icicle, which if it gets a speed and damage bonus, you draw. And of course, there's a lot of ways to give it. Once again, we're playing Gravel. This is pretty similar to the other Fire Vash lists. There's a lot of different ways to give it the damage, defrosting, and make it work. Again, we see Flamethrower, which is a very neat card here to give it the speed, and Frigid Heatwave. So very similar to the past few lists. Let's jump in next to another Fire Vash list. And on this one, we are running Instant Explosive Release. I assume in this list, the first card that you would like to start out with is an Ignited Arrow, because they're not going to block the Ignited Arrow, and then you can follow up with the Instant Explosive Release and immediately get the momentum, and you can use the momentum for Howitzer Impact Cyclone. You're also drawing even more with Stun Grenade, and you have 3 maximum hardenings, giving everything 2 damage, solving the damage issue with Vash. But I don't see a way to get this out of your card pool, so it will be stuck in your card pool. And all of the fire lists are running Sugar Rush Power Up. All right, now we are jumping into a Chaos list, and this Chaos list is very heavy on the actions. We are running 4x Summon Dark Shadow. We also have 3x Evil versus Good, and we have 3x Manifest, and all of these work really well with Dark Shadow Ruin because all of these stay in the card pool, but Dark Shadow Ruin is saying that they are not going to count towards progressive. And once again, we see Twisting Azure Inferno to work with Summon Dark Shadow. So you can have a line like Twisting Azure Inferno, Summon Dark Shadow, to Dark Shadow Ruin, say actions don't count. And because you played the Summon Dark Shadow, you're Twisting Azure, you'll say your checks get +1, your rivals, basically saying Twisting Azure Inferno doesn't count towards progressive. Then you can play Manifest, kick that Twisting Azure into your momentum. Manifest doesn't count towards progressive, and then you draw a card off Manifest, of course. And so now, even though you have 3 cards in your card pool, it's basically as if you have no cards in your card pool. Just a very, very powerful combo with Vash, and makes a lot of sense. And then, of course, any list that can give, any character that can give Indiscriminate Shock 1.3 million volts, speed is going to be very, very good. So I really enjoyed this list, and I went ahead and gave it a top 10 trophy. Oh, and Spiral Blasts, giving it 2 speed. And then here we have this list, and it is very similar to this one, except it's a little more concise and like honed in, a little less heavy on the actions, and a smaller attack ratio. Because even though you're discarding an attack with Vash, you're still an 8-hander, so you should still have 3 or 4 attack. On a kill string, you should be okay. And you get cards like Chivalrous Competitor to draw even more, and Frigid Heatwave to draw even more. So this one is a little more concise. We took out the Evil versus Good. We're just running 4 Summon Dark Shadow and 3 Manifest. We've got the Twisting. And then what I really liked about this list is, okay, you have Spiral Blast and Nejire Wave to take advantage of the momentum that you get from Manifest. So when you use Manifest, throw the attack in your momentum, then you can throw down a Nejire Wave, stun them 3, and then follow it up with an Indiscriminate Shock and just kill them. Or you can follow it up with a Spiral Blast and then get to Echo Spiral Blasts. Very, very nice. There's just and then down here you get Vast Hybrid to get momentum even faster, and Chivalrous Competitor to draw even more. You get Agency Trainees just in case. The main use for this I found, because I tested this list quite a bit and I've been having a ton of fun on this list. The main use for Agency Trainees that I found is just to avoid Breaker, especially with cards like Barrier Shield running around like crazy. So just, build in, play a 0 diff and build it in with Agency Trainees. My worry with this list was that it was going to be difficult for Vash to do a combo-y type list, because you have to because before you draw the 3 cards with Vash, you have to decide what attack am I going to play, what attack am I going to keep, and what attack am I going to discard. If 3 out of 6 of your cards are attacks, you have to make all of those decisions before you see your next 3 cards. So I was a little worried that when I was playing this list that it wasn't going to work out as often as I wanted, or I was going to be discarding the attack that I would end up wanting. But everything was just going really, really well. And in my playtesting of this list, I never dropped a single game. So very, very cool. I gave this one a top 10 trophy as well. All right, another Chaos Vash list. Now this one is running a little more into the ally package, and we can see that we are 4xing Giant Bite Detention. And I really liked this addition of Agile Drop to go and grab an attack out of your discard pile. And then the foundation base looks pretty similar to the others, except we're running Friend of Animals with Command Pigeon Flock, because again, we're running a little more of a ally package. On this evil one, let me see which evil. I got 2 evil lists. Okay, this is the one where we are 4xing Loving Father, because with Vash, we can discard an attack, and then if it's a copy of the attack that we have in the card pool, we're just going to use Loving Father and bring it straight back into our hand. Or what we could even do is use an attack like Nebula Stare, bring an attack up to the top, and then we could mill one. We could bring an attack up to the top that matches one of the attacks in our hand, right? And then we could mill one with Vash, so that's 1. We could check the attack in our hand, and that's 2. And then we could mill another with Vash, that's 3. And then we would use floating to remove the top 3, and then that one that we wanted is now back at the top, and we can use Loving Father and bring it back. I thought that was very, very neat. For that reason, I gave this a top 10 trophy. Okay, over here we have another evil list, and once again we are running Summon Dark Shadow. It just naturally goes with Vash. We also have a couple copies of Loving Father for that type of interaction as well. And I think Vash is the perfect barrier shield character because you're an 8 hand size character, and so losing that 1 in hand size isn't really that big of a cost. The only downside to this list is I wasn't sure about running Up in Flames. I'm not a big fan of this card, and I don't believe we have a way to get it out of our card pool when it goes into our card pool. And I'm not a big fan of like Fruit of Our Labors. So there's some, like in the Foundation lineup, I'm not a huge fan of the Foundations, but I am a huge fan of the Summon Dark Shadow, Barrier Shield, and the Attack lineup. What I really wanted to do is take these 2 evil lists and combine them. Right, I wanted this Nebula Stare, Loving Father, floating interaction, and I wanted Summon Dark Shadow and Barrier Shield with the twisting surroundings. I wanted to take these lists and just combine them into one list, but I can't do that. Okay, here we have a behemoth of a water list for Vash. This one made me laugh when I received it. It is 140 cards, and what's actually pretty funny is it works. Like, it's pretty even on the block zone spread, 45 high, 50 mid, 45 low. And Vash is actually a perfect water character because you can just defend and live for forever. Like, and 28 health character on water that's an 8 hand size is just not going to die. And the foundations chosen here, well, there's a lot of them. It's a solid, very defensive build. The only attack that I'm not quite sure about is running Heroic Clash at a 4x as a 1-check. I think that's I see it. It's a ranged attack, and so it works with like Frigid Heat Wave, and the rest of the range to line up. And Vash is solving the problem of Heroic Clash, right? It's a 3 mid attack, and so now Vash is making a 5 mid 7, which is awesome stats. And then you can get your momentum with cards like Manifest and Amphibious Ambush to turn it on. So it makes sense there. I'm not sure about a 4x. It's a little aggressive on it, but at the same time, it's 140 cards, so not that aggressive. But I really, really like this list, and I love the idea of a defensive 8 hand size Vash on water. We have another water list. This time we're taking advantage of our discard pile through cards like Surging Crystal Darts and Crystal Chokeslam. And then we also, again, it's a 2 mid Tape Lash, but with Vash we're making it a 4 mid. It makes a lot of sense. And cards like Frozen Slash we are going to, oh wait, Vash is only giving speed. So where do you get the damage? You can get the damage through supporter friend or basic training. So this is a little more concise water list than the past one, the 140 card list. And then we have this error list where the thing that jumps out to me is it looks like we're trying to get meteor showers, right? We're trying to overcome the cost of discarding an attack with Vash, that we can then just go and grab the meteor shower right back, which makes a lot of sense. We should have momentum with 0 gravity lift and electric jolt going to our momentum. We have an all list with this one I thought was pretty cool because we have Hardened Barrage and plus Ultra Smash and All Might's Mentorship and Award the Victor. So you can basically do the infinite Tiger's Infinite combo. Of course, it won't be infinite in Vash because you're only an 8-hand size character, but the basic combo is you play Hardened Barrage, you unflip your Award the Victor, then you flip your Award the Victor, put it on top of your deck, and then you use All Might's Mentorship to draw the Hardened Barrage and discard a card. And then you can play Hardened Barrage again until you run out of cards in your hand, which Vash isn't going to run out of cards in his hand for a while. Or you have plus Ultra Smash, where you can, if you have less foundations, you can do the exact same thing. Hardened Barrage is if it deals damage, plus Ultra Smash is if it deals less damage, and then you get the same combo off. I believe I said the combo correctly there. I might have missed something. And then you get cards like Final Smash to take advantage of your discard pile. Texas Smash, making it fast, feels very, very good. So I really liked this list and gave it a top 10 trophy. Here we have a death list. We have Hulking Grimace, which is fun, making this 7 mid for 10. This death list seemed to be a pretty standard, powerful death list, but I didn't see anything else really super specific to Vash. It does feel nice, to discard. We certainly have room to discard for snack time to stun our opponent out. All right, we have an Earth list on Vash, and here we are running the Relentless Barrage Tetsu Thrashing combo to take advantage of our discard pile. So I like that is taking advantage of the discard pile and the mill from Vash. My only worry here is that Vash is an 8-hander, and Snack Time is the only card here where we're discarding cards. So I just don't see a world where we're able to use Tetsu Thrashing to go pick up more Thrashings. Like, I used to play a Barrage Thrashing no move pretty frequently in about like November of last year, and I found a lot of times I had to be at like 0 cards in hand basically to go get another Thrashing. So I'm not sure Vash is going to get this off as consistently, but I like where the thought was going. All right, we have an Order Vash, and what I thought was really cool here is Knee Smash. Just feels like the perfect attack in Vash because you can discard the attack and then you get to, I believe if the top card of your discard pile is an attack, you draw one, and then if it's a foundation, you can build it. And since you're going to have the card you checked, the attack you discarded, and the one you milled, you have 3 opportunities, and you're probably going to get both of those effects off. And Knee Smash is a 1 high, but in Vash is a 3 high. So Knee Smash feels like Vash solves all the problems of Knee Smash. And then, of course, we love anytime we can get a 5-low Indiscriminate Shock off. And then Final Smash to take advantage of the discard. So I like this list a lot, and I gave it a trophy. All right, let's jump into Spike. Enough about Vash. So Spike, flip a foundation. If this attack deals damage, draw 1 card. Attack gets +1/+1 for every 3 face-down foundation in your stage. So I'm looking for a list that just screams Spike to me. And, for creativity, I'm looking for things that are very, very Spike focused. Here's this first one, an Earth list. And this Earth list is running a lot of throws. We have Overhead Reversal, Cast Claw Face Grab, and Fat Grapple. And because the throws are going to guarantee the damage to guarantee the draw for Spike. And then we have cards like Energy Suction and Carbo Loading to add damage to the throws. And then when we gain health, we can re-ready our Carbo Loadings again. A very, very neat idea here. And we love Overhead Reversal to build in 0 diffs and then to flip. And building in a tight lipped on Spike feels very, very good. I have another Earth list. And this is a more basic attack package with, Hardened Frenzy, Hardened Jab, Hardened Pummel, and then Naval Laser Beam. I love Naval Laser Beam to unflip foundations on Spike. And then Red Guard has a flip cost, and Hardened Jab just naturally works with Spike really well, and Spike solves the, Hardened Jab's a 3 mid, but in Spike it's always going to be like a 4 mid or a 5 mid, and you're going to be picking up an attack a good amount of the time. I also really like cards like Super Regeneration in Spike that allows to flip for health on defense, and Male Bonding. It just, Earth feels like I can defend pretty well and play a solid game plan, but as soon as I want to, I'm just going to flip my entire stage on my first attack and give everything 3/3 and then kill you. So I gave this one a trophy. We have another Spike list on Earth, and I like that they use the old Spike here for UVS Ultra. Here we're also using throws again. Well, we're only using one throw, overhead reversal, to build in the 0 to then flip with Spike, and we also have the Naval Laser Beam. I liked that we also have Back Alley Haymaker to build a Spike. Makes a lot of sense. I really liked that we're running these 2 checks here. Charge Shield Breaker. We're going to be giving it at least 1 or 2 speed, and then we're going to get all the speeds for the other. Charge. It's going to be a massive damage attack in Spike. And then Detroit Smash feels like a fun little thing to use the momentum from like a throw and then add 3 into our momentum. I also liked Shining Naval Blast because, what does it say? It says flip 1 foundation. If this attack deals damage, you right. Flip 1 foundation. This attack is +1/+1. If it deals damage, your rival discards a momentum. I think that's what it says. So you're flipping a foundation. There is the cost. I gave this one a trophy. Next, we have a water list, and we, of course, are using Fafrotsky's, which gives you +1 damage for every face-down foundation, so then you're doubling down even more on Spike. And I really like this list that we're using Double Trouble, which is a 2 mid 5, but Spike's going to solve the problem of Double Trouble because he's going to make it a 4 mid 7 or like a 3 mid 6. And then he's going to get to echo it because we have cards like Dual Needle Lunge to go to our momentum, Fast Hybrid to go to our momentum, Manifest to throw attacks into our momentum. And then we also get Invisible Infiltration to be unflipping the cards that we need in stage, and we can play a pretty defensive list. I loved the creativity of this list. Then we went and actually played it, and it just went kersplat on me. But I'm giving it a trophy for creativity. All right, we have another water list, very similar. We are running Fafrotsky's, but this time we are adding in some throws with Grasping Tape Toss and Bubble Restraint. And since our throws have bad block modifiers, we have like Bubble Distraction, basically the water version of like Carbo Loading, except I guess a little worse since it doesn't ready itself. But yeah, very, very neat list here. Oh, sorry. And here is an air list. And we have, it's just a very, very solid. We're making Indiscriminate Shock and Home Run Comet. We love giving those things +1 or +2 speed. We are getting momentum pretty quickly. We have lots of things to flip with First Impressions and the big 3, Latent Skill, Observant Student is there as just a low block that can be flipped as soon as we need. Destined and Requesting Assistance. This feels like it would be a very, very strong list. And now we have a Chaos list where we have some cards that are taking advantage of giving both a speed and damage bonus with Frozen Slash and Dark Shadow Ruin. And then, of course, we still have Indiscriminate Shock. And we'll all, if we're on these symbols, it feels really nice to play for Frotsky's. And we have a ton of cards that can flip on a moment's notice, even though we're on the Chaos symbol. So I would like to see some actions to take further advantage of Dark Shadow Ruin, but just on its face, Dark Shadow Ruin is going to be a very, very strong attack, getting the speed and damage bonus. Then we have an evil list, once again, a very throw-focused list with like Double Palm Shatter, Invisible Clasp, and Nebulous Stare. And then Masterminding Apprentice, we can get rid of face-down foundations as needed, or Converting Captured Pieces, we can take advantage of the face-downs. And Sticky Balls feels like a great, great card in Spike. Jump to the next one. We have a life list. Once again, we are focusing on throws. And here we also have Meteor Shower. And Meteor Shower feels really nice in Spike because, it's a recurring attack, but you are giving it stats. And so it's always going to be like a 6 mid 7 that you can go and grab. And this is a list. I went ahead and gave this a top 10. It just feels like life would be a really good symbol for Vash, where he could stay alive for as long as he needs and then go in at the right time and win the game. The only card that I wasn't quite sure about was I wished we had less reverse throws and more overhead reversals in this list, and maybe a few more ways to take advantage of the momentum. Like we have 2 Nejire Wave and the Spiral Blast. I suppose that's and Meteor Shower. Okay, never mind. Yeah, I forgot about I can't believe I forgot about the Meteor Shower after I had just mentioned it. Okay, and here we have a Fire Spike list where we're taking advantage of Dark Shadow Ruin again. And here we have added in Blazing Icicle because we're always going to be drawing that card, and then we can be freezing the stage. Of course, Twisting Azure Inferno feels really powerful, giving it 2/2 and making it a 6-speed Twisting Azure Inferno, where you can always play one of these actions to go ahead and get the damage. And Spike's going to give it 2 damage. And then you have cards like Revel and Defrosting. I thought I gave this one a trophy. This one should have had a trophy. I really like this list. Okay, so that is it for all the lists. I then went and playtest a number of these lists that were my favorite just to feel, because it's sometimes hard to judge competitiveness when you're just staring at a UVS Ultra list. Like, you can convince yourself that things are strong and then you actually play them and they don't do well. Like I was saying with that water list, I thought it was super creative, and then I played it and I might have just had a few really unlucky games, but it just didn't go well for me. So I was looking for a list that was both a lot of fun to look at and in theory, and then also a lot of fun to play. I want a list that once I play it a couple times, all I want to do is play it more. And there was one list that fit that to a T, and it was this Chaos Vash list running Summon Dark Shadow and Manifest. It made me like this attack lineup so much that I tried to recreate this with Tokoyami, but it just didn't feel the same in Tokoyami. It felt much better in Vash, where I was a 28 health character instead of a 20 health character. Although we all know Tokoyami's not really only 20 health. He's like 23, 24 with his -1 damage capability. But it felt very, very consistent. And, it really, between the Nejire waves and Vash giving everything 2 speed, my opponents would be tapped out pretty quickly, and then I could always hit them with an indiscriminate shock at the end. And while I was scared that it was going to be a little too combo-y for Vash, it just worked out perfect, because it was like, if I didn't have a momentum or a way to get the momentum, I was totally fine throwing away a Nejire Wave or a Spiral Blast. If I didn't have an action, I would throw away the Twisting Azure. If I didn't have 6 ranged in my discard, I would throw away the Frigid Heat Wave. The decisions always felt easy to make as to what to discard. And, maybe in the 4 to 6 games that I've played with this list, I just got pretty lucky, but I felt like I always had the attacks in hand, despite this being an attack ratio of less than 33% and Vash discarding an attack. I just felt like I always had it in my hand. The only issue that I really had with this list, and it's not even a big one, is that I wish we had a few struggling with studies in here. But I understand why they're agency trainees, right? We're a string deck and we want to play around those breakers. And it feels really nice to build in cards like Irrefutable if we need it, or build in cards like Chivalrous Competitor if we need the draw. But this list was just nuts to play, and I have been having an absolute blast with it. It makes me really hope that we get a Chaos Vash. And the creator of this list was Pippa, and I have already told them that they won and that their box is in the mail. So congratulations to Pippa. I absolutely love this list, and congratulations to everybody. I know I didn't do this justice. I was kind of going fast and probably not giving the best of commentary here. Because I was looking at the list and then okay, remind myself about it. But this list was just an awesome These lists were an awesome thought exercise for me to get familiar with these characters and then actually play them. And I am so excited for these characters to come out and be released. Let's see, did I have anything else? Nope. That is it for me. By the way, I made Vash and Spike lists on Tabletop Simulator just as like saved objects. So if you'd like them for your Tabletop Simulator to play, or if you want to like play this Vash list on your own, just let me know and I will gladly share those objects with you. But I was surprised at how simple it was in Tabletop to make the custom cards. But that's going to do it for me. Congratulations to Pippa and this Vash Chaos list, and I will see you guys next time.